Got it.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and wow, has it been a busy week. This is Thursday, May the 8th, and this is now our, man, I'm almost running out of fingers. No, not 10, 9 working groups that we've held within the last less than a week to really refine the conversation around AI for real estate. And with AI for real estate, this is a link to the Google Docs. I'm actually going to share, I'm going to grab a link here, copy link. This Google document is very, very tab heavy. Link to Google Docs. And we're on week 19, and this is a templated Google Docs. Just scrolling down here, you can find this at AI.WeOwn.Academy. And I'm going to actually change this. I think there's more traction around build in public. But we were talking a little bit about movement marketing before we came on the live stream here. And I would actually say that we are early adopters in the build in public movement. Not going to unpack that because we've got more important things to do, like building cool shit. So, Feld culture, love talking about our Feld culture, fun, earning, learning, and giving. And you can see here, this is a templated agenda. And on that note, I'm going to just take a moment to unpack or allow some other people on the conversation tonight to see what you would like to talk about, because we're all learning together here. And that's the whole purpose of AI for Real Estate by WeOwn.Academy, is a peer learning cohort. So what are we going to discuss tonight? And on that note, I'm going to go on mute.
I'd like to talk about the target that we're trying to, the group of people. I know we want to talk to real estate brokers, possibly developers. I think we need to find someone that knows the entire process from beginning to end, a real estate broker in that realm. It'd be nice to know some, like, developers do some of the stuff that real estate brokers don't do, and vice versa. I don't even know if we've discussed development.
No, so I'm glad that you brought that up, Mr. Schonecker. So let's go to our goals and FAQs tab over here. And let me make sure that we've got our table of contents refreshed here. So clicking on the little refresh. So this still needs to be updated a little bit, but let's scroll down to our marketing avatars for this cohort. So one of the things that we're providing, and let me see if this is in here somewhere. This can be cleaned up a little bit as far as, but we're limiting this cohort to 20 participants, and then we're going to allow, we specified on our last conversation, I believe, 5 to 7 people in the first cohort as far as young professionals. Like, we have more demand for that. Will we accommodate? Sure. But CU Boulder, Michael A. Klump has a Center for Real Estate. So, like, whether it's graduating, recent graduates from CU Boulder, but let's actually take a step back to talk about targeted geolocations. So MSAs sorted in priority, order of priority from Yonk's team perspective. Obviously, Denver, Boulder, this is where we are based. Majority of the people on the conversation tonight are in the greater Denver area. So our friends in Twin Cities, and the reason that Twin Cities is strategic is that Excel Energy, that's a commonality that we share. We're wanting to do this number right here, the middle finger to Excel Energy, the investor-owned utility. Minnesota had such a bad experience with Excel, they passed the most favorable community solar regulations. We had a side conversation with iLocal.fyi where we talked about looking at culture convergence coming up here on August. August is going to be very strategic for our ecosystem, but also upstate. I'm going to actually be flying to upstate New York here on Saturday, and I will likely go back there quite a lot because that's where my daughter and Papa Yonks, my granddaughter, is based out of. New York has also, similar to Minnesota, very favorable community solar regulations. These two markets, Denver, Boulder, Twin Cities, Xcel Energy. These two markets, Con Ed, Con Edison. So investor-owned utilities that have a strong track record of doing their one thing in life, returning results to investors through a shareholder primacy model. Not going to unpack all of that. Anyway, so those four strategic markets, and then going back to the avatars for this cohort, Tyler and I are Proppy ambassadors. Not going to unpack what is Proppy right now. Tyler and I are also regional chairs for Colorado. So we would ideally like to see 4 or 5 real estate professionals from each one of these 4 markets that we've identified. And whether we say, hey, we're going to limit it to 4 or 5 people from that market, like Tyler and I are based here in Denver, Boulder. So let's bring on 3 more people here in Denver, Boulder. And the thing that's great about this sort of thinking is that by us limiting the quantity of people, that creates a FOMO, fear of missing out. Because I really believe with what we're going to be creating with our AI agency model, that the people that are going to be peers of this first cohort will have an unfair advantage because they're also going to get access to the AI agency model that we're going to be creating. And then like the thing that's exciting about this is my full-time jam. Like this is what I spend my time geeking out on. I wouldn't even self-identify as a real estate professional, but I've spent more times than most real estate professionals thinking about how to bring disruption and improvements, better models to real estate than most people in the last 4 years of going down these rabbit holes. So does that paint a better picture as far as our target market, Mr. Schonecker?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I would love to, because I don't know. I am a self-admitted neophyte when it comes to AI. But when I started unpacking the convergence here in 2025, that's why this is day 123 of a 180-day live stream challenge. We've had lots of conversations around our vertical AI agent strategy. So that being said, one of the things that we always love to do in our working groups is roll up the proverbial sleeves and actually get some stuff built. So how about let's doing that right now? Oh no, I don't have anything here but some trees. Let me find my other window. So Reeboks, we were having some conversations about Reeboks. How's that been resonating with you?
I like it.
All right.
What are you going to do with it?
So what we're going to do right now, we're going to get Reeboks.base.eth. We are committed to building on Base. Coinbase is a global market leader for centralized exchange. And I just transferred over a little bit of crypto from one wallet to the Reeboks account that I just set up. So we're here at base.org names, and we're about to register Reeboks.base.eth. Let's LFG with Reeboks.base.eth at basenames.org. And I'm just sharing a link here on the live stream for my live streaming friends. So let's go. Okay, well, this is available. It's $2.22. So let's actually go through the process of connecting a wallet, Coinbase wallet, connect, connected. Okay, register name, confirm. All right, we're registering Reeboks.base.e. Congrats, this name is yours. So let's go to profile. Let's see what we get here. Manage profile. Tell us about yourself. Do I have a page here for Reeboks? I might. Well, we'll update this later. I I don't know how much stuff of this that we have, but now I've got we have Reeboks.base.e. And I think that we had the conversation the other day as far as looking at the USPTO when we pivoted from Hacker House. I don't know if we had that conversation here around. Let me just do a new window here in Firefox. I actually like USPTO, and as a open source fanboy, like not a fan of how lethargic the USPTO is, but let's just do a search for Reeboks. Reeboks, moving and storage of goods. That's obviously not us. Let's just do here live and pending. So one of the reasons that I like doing this conversation is that this shows the various different, like, because there's different Reeboks Ventures, Avenaya Corporation in California. This is a Texas company. This is a California company. This is a Florida company. Genuine factory and remanufactured link cartridges. Technical consulting, planning, research, and development. And this is they have 4 classes. So this is one that we will take a look at off the line. But anyway, that's one of the things I like to look at. Love to geek out on some branding. But anyway, let's go back. I'm going to just make a quick note here on our agenda. So we discussed our target market already. We registered Reeboks.eth. So, and I don't know if I did a great job of bringing the connection here because this is AI for real estate. So what the hell is Reeboks? So to bring it full circle here, this is our AI agency brand. And this is one of the things that I have had some conversations with is I think that we should really create a tool. And here is Notion. This is where, like, this is pToken IDs. I'm not going to unpack this. Let's just actually go here real quick. pToken is a brand in our ecosystem. pToken.id redirects to the Notion page that I just showed you. Reeboks. We were just talking about Reeboks, which is the AI agency for real estate. So wanted to go off on that tangent just real quick here. But what I was wanting to do here in Notion was actually work on going to our curriculum for here. So curriculum ideas. This is where, and I'm going to go to the weekly schedule. This is something that I would really like us to get dialed in. So here it is, Thursday night. We've got a conversation planned with Alan from Digital Media that we're really going to get some clarity around our branding strategy. And then after that, at 3 o'clock, and let me actually just go here to our Luma calendar real quick for WeOwn. And I know that we had some conversations, Mr. Schonecker, around the calendar stuff. So I worked on getting some branding here, Luma / WeOwn. So, real quick, I want to get some feedback from everybody. Real estate and cooperative ownership for everyone. How does that resonate with people?
Repeat.
Real estate and cooperative ownership for everyone.
Yeah, that's cool. That defines it pretty well.
I'm trying to simplify things. Like that's the big challenge at hand. WeOwn.Network is a pretty complicated ecosystem. And just to go to our website here at WeOwn.Network, I'm trying to keep this as updated as possible. I've got here AI for real estate. Here's our Google Docs that we're having conversations around. American Dream Campaign. Very excited to continue to have some conversations around that. But just scrolling down, there's a lot of bubbles going on here. So that's just the level of complexity that we're dealing with here with WeOwn.Network. But this is a tagline that I'm increasingly embracing because again, I don't want people to spend a lot of time. Like I can appreciate the cooperative ownership for a lot of people. Like this will require, and if I want to spend any, like, I don't think that we really need to define real estate. I don't think we need to define for everyone. Cooperative ownership is the big opportunity, and that's the ethos of We Own is cooperative ownership. We Own is the simplification of cooperative ownership. So that being said, part of 3 Win Social launching AI for real estate by WeOwn.Academy and then WeOwn Cash. So just updated this earlier today. Let me actually throw this in here. Subscribe to the calendar. This is a call to action to all my live stream friends. Subscribe to our Luma calendar. And the thing that I didn't talk about was our upcoming event here for tomorrow. And this is one of the things building in public. And I'm going to invite a friend right now. Here's my invite a friend link. Working group number 10 tomorrow at 5 p.m. EDT. Okay. So enough shilling our ecosystem here. Let's actually get back to actually doing some things. So I'm going to close this tab, coming back to our Google document. So this is, I think, probably the biggest thing that I want us to think about here in the next coming weeks is what we want this outline to look like. And I don't want it to be set in stone too much because one of the things that we've talked about over here on the goals and FAQs, and I want to just thank Tyler for all the efforts, but we haven't imported the thoughts that Tyler put forward. And was this AI generated input, Tyler, or was this just your own thoughts?
For the curriculum?
No, the feedback form.
No, that was my thoughts. One of the things that I think people who are doing classes tend to make a mistake on is they don't ask the right questions. So, are you in real estate is not as good of a question as if you're a landlord, your needs for AI are different than if you're a realtor. If you're licensed, they're different than if you're not licensed. Um, if you if your knowledge is all book knowledge versus academic knowledge, I'm sorry, if it's all book and academic knowledge versus actual experience, that's different. If you're just kind of lurking in Facebook groups and reading blogs and whatnot, that's different than actually doing it. So, one of the things that, and I don't know if we're gonna have so much packed in this class. I don't know how we're actually gonna do it, but I'd love to just get some of the emotion out of real estate. One of the things that I'm realizing is you think about what AI can automate, it takes out a lot of the emotion. So if you have an agent that says, if my tenant is a day late, send them a automatically generate a notice to quit. That can be pretty heartless. And if you're like, I don't want to be that heartless, like let's just do that like on day 15. Um, Instead, that's fine because you can program the agent to spit it out however you want. But when you're starting to think like, should I do it? Should I not? What about this? What about that? If you got one or two properties, you can figure that out. If you're trying to manage 1,000 properties, having AI saying, "Oh my gosh, I missed that guy's 3 months late on his rent. I meant to already start eviction processes, that kind of thing." Or I missed this deal because I didn't use an AI agent to run proper comps, or I didn't realize that I was dealing with a wholesaler who's never closed a deal and he's trying to sell me a non-assignable contract. There's so many ways that we can look at AI and really clean up a lot of the mistakes before they happen.
Yes, and one of the things that I just added here that wasn't on the list was property managers, and this is one of the things that I think will be very strategic, especially when all the sentiments that I'm seeing is that there's a strong opportunity around our uprate model. And just quickly digressing to We Own Capital that talks about our 6 pillars here in that we're planning to launch within our ecosystem, and the uprate and just REITs in general, but not going to unpack that all right now. So anyway, what does anybody else want to chime in? Some thoughts on this feedback form? I think we have this set up. Let me double check here. I'm going to just go to an incognito window. So this is something that still needs to be but did put a little bit of initial branding on this We Own AI for Real Estate by WeOwn.Academy. And this is on our custom domain forms. And the place that this is going to happen is when somebody commits to our We Own Academy for this first cohort. And this is something that we're uh, putting a decent barrier of entry on for 497. We're really wanting to work with people that are committed here. But this is one of the things that we're very confident in delivering worthwhile value. If people don't feel that they got their value within their first cohort or in their first month, we will have no problem refunding their money through a money back guarantee.
Because you have to go to
Oh, I'm
cycle.
sorry, I forgot about that. I'm on a call, babe.
Huh?
I'm on a live.
All right, so moving on the agenda. So we have 10 minutes left here of our scheduled time, and I always want to be respectful of everyone's time. And tomorrow is going to be a jam-packed day. We've got 3 hours with Alan from Noble Digital, and really looking forward to that process. But what we've got now to prepare between today, tomorrow afternoon, what do we want to prepare for our conversation tomorrow?
I think we need to. So we've got the form working. Do we have the affiliate working yet?
No, so that's where just going to WeOwn.Academy, that's one of the things that's an opportunity to set up within WordPress. We also have WeOwn.Events, and we had some conversation earlier about Eventbrite, and this is where we really need to define on where what the user journey is. But I see Mr. Schonecker has an open mic. Over to you, sir.
What was that? What was that previous tab that you had? Looks good. There's a lot here.
The
So
WeOwn Academy, the WeOwn Academy one here.
is this the one that we're going to present, and then they dig down into it for the real estate? Well, okay, there's a lot of stuff here. This is the main page.
Well, this is just a simple thing that we set up.
Okay.
Using Linktree is something that we're doing across our ecosystem. Like if you go down here to 3Win Social Ecosystem, pToken Assets
Mhm.
is another Linktree page, and just trying to create a more consistent look and feel across our ecosystem. But we definitely want to embrace a more of a architected user journey. And I have said and will continue to say that we're really wanting this to be as decentralized as possible, where the facilitators, like Tyler and I, as Yonk's team, are facilitating this first cohort model. The
Mm-hmm.
more that we can decentralize this, where it's not relying on some centralized CRM or whatever, and embrace and empower our ambassadors, our WeOwn associates to create these workflows where they own the conversation. Because this is one of the things that I will say that we're architecting our ecosystem as an inclusive community by invitation only.
Mm-hmm.
So we as
Well,
WeOwn
I think just
associates,
having a workflow that's reproducible, cookie cutter is the way to go. Something easy for them to see. Like if you were going to do this real estate thing, I definitely wouldn't show them all of this stuff. I would just stick with the real estate portion, make it very simple because you're gonna, I mean, you got so much here, it's gonna go over their head.
no, and that I would absolutely agree. And that's like one of the things that and I can't remember if I showed our user journey for that we created here fairly recently, and this is an opportunity to update because this doesn't incorporate the boot camp, but the user journey that created here for the American Dream campaign, and this is
Yeah, that's
what,
cool. Yep.
yes. So, and this is something that can be updated because again, like a slightly different dynamics, pivot away from Hacker House to We Own Academy, but the thought process, the user journey is still similar to that. So going back, I'm going to go ahead right now and do a duplicate for our agenda tomorrow. So what else do we I absolutely agree, Mr. Schonecker, that we need to simplify the user journey and abstract away a lot of the technology. And I'm looking forward to the conversation with Alan tomorrow to help us get our brand strategy dialed in.
Yeah. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to make it kind of fun for anyone that's gonna, you know, sign up, be a part of it. Um, I mean, we want it to be fun. We want it to be informative. And I think the challenge is going to be conveying this concept to someone that's not familiar with tech.
One of one of the things that we've been thinking a lot about is how do we make our ads to solve one problem at a time? Hey, real estate agent, are you overwhelmed with the idea of getting your next lead in the door? How are you going to get the next contract signed? And
Right.
then micro targeting it at people we know are realtors. Like if you're in a Facebook group that's related to an MLS, you're a realtor. There's no reason for anybody else to be in that group, that kind of thing. So instead
Mm-hmm.
of just micro targeting people by demographics, um, I personally I think we should do the overwhelming majority of our marketing, if not all of it, at realtors because anybody else is not necessarily going to be doing the volume because pretty much every deal other than that, you're doing it with your own money or you're an employee of somebody else. You're not making the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, realtors are mostly the people that are in charge of the business, in charge of the decision whether or not they want to spend the money on the class, and they're in charge of what they want to do with it. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say most to all of our marketing should be aimed at realtors. And if we micro target market to people who we know or we have a very high suspicion that they are realtors,
Mm-hmm.
I think that will really narrow down our marketing and then solving one problem at a time, saying, um, hey, are you really overwhelmed with following up on your clients? Are you so frustrated that somebody that you've been friends with for 10 years just bought a house from somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
Let's automate your lead gen. Let's because kind of I think if we focus each ad on one problem at a time and saying we can solve this problem and let's just see
Yeah,
what gets traction. If my guess is that lead gen and paperwork automation, lead gen by far number one, paperwork automation probably somewhere mid number two, and then everything else
contracts.
we're offering. If you got those two things right and you're really dialed in, then you're thinking about things like virtual staging and checking paper error checking paperwork, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It's that's a good breakout. Like, but I think a lot of it is going to be informative for us to gather information, at least in this first round. Like, what are their challenges? I mean, we may, I mean, my dad's a broker. I could have a conversation with him on the phone and say, "What are your challenges about being a real estate broker? What do you how I think we should ask that of everybody. Just make it kind of like a group discussion. Hey, you know we want to do this, we want to do this with real estate. What are your challenges? And so we have an idea of how AI can solve some of their problems, because AI isn't going to solve all their problems. You're like, oh, we just want to close deals. Like, how is AI going to help me close deals? Well,
Well,
like lead
no,
gen, and it's all like,
let's actually, because I think I have a great article on that, because there's a substantiated evidence here around
if we
uh,
have it already, it's a different pitch. It's like, hey, have you
so
thought of
so
this approach? Have you thought of that approach? Yeah, there you go.
first ever AI real estate agent generates 100 million in sales in Portugal.
Okay,
And
does he talk about how he went about doing that?
well, it's not there's a whole like Porta de Franta Christi is using AI agents, and they're using this and this is one of the things, they're using the tool eself.ai, and eself.ai has a use case here and this is one of the things talking about our podcast. And we didn't talk about our podcast here, but this is something that Tyler and I are very excited about, and
Yeah,
this is
that's
a
cool.
value.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the opportunity to get eself.ai, because they're clearly positioning. I mean, like, here's an article,
That
that's
girl is
on.
even artificial.
Yeah, no, 100%. And
That's an artificial agent.
yeah, $100 million in sales in Portugal that this organization attributed directly to their utilization of eself.ai.
So
So
what
this
is
is
stopping someone from using this rather than something that we can do?
Well, there's two things. One is you don't know what the inputs are.
it.
And
No, let me chime in here, Tyler, because I'm fairly certain that eself.ai is not creating a model of AI agency that somebody owns. They're creating a SaaS model, plans for everyone.
Yes. Okay, got it.
It's as simple as that. We're architecting everything about how that we're architecting our solution is geared towards we own. Those two words, 5 characters, we own. It doesn't get any more simple than that. eself.ai doesn't equal we own.
Well, let's replicate that website. Let's just replicate it 100 times and pitch it here.
Yeah, no,
Here's a tool for you to use, and you own it.
it's that's the whole point of AI for real estate, is to have conversations. Like, one of the things that you will hear me say that I will say repeatedly, we're taking a people first approach, not a technology first approach. And this is where we care more about creating solutions that people can own, and we're wanting to create an early adopter network effect around an AI agency model. And that's one of the things that I will just put forward for us to all think about, because this is a cornerstone piece of content that we can write here in May of 2025. AI tools versus AI agents versus AI agency. And those three things, AI tools, AI agents, and AI agency, are very different concepts to unpack. And the more that we can eloquently unpack that, that doesn't mindfuck people, we'll be in a good place.
Yeah. Can you send me that website? I want to check it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even better, let me actually just fire up a screen share again here because this will be some more self-promotion for our ecosystem and Common Ground. I'm a huge fan of Common Ground, and I just created Academy AI for real estate. And here's a piece of content. Let me actually just go to a browser window. I'm just going to go here, app.cg/c/weown. So this is our community on Common Ground. Love Common Ground. I am Lotus, and Tyler can attest to how much that we've had conversations in the last 4 years around evaluating community platforms. I don't know. Do you want to have any conversations around that? That's probably a conversation in and of itself, quite honestly. But here's the channel. Let me link this up. AI real estate in the WeOwn community on Common Ground. Our conversations for AI for real estate by WeOwn.Academy are unfolding very quickly. This is just a post that I made yesterday. So join the community on Common Ground. We're going to be having more conversations. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to stop my screen share again because we're already 3 minutes. It's 10 p.m. here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. This is, I wouldn't be having these conversations if I didn't enjoy doing it. It's as simple as that.
Correct.
I think we're getting there. I like the contribution of Tyler, the step-by-step thing, because that's really for building for the people who's going to use this. We need to know their pain point.
Yeah, it's yeah, the concept's good. It's how do you frame it and how do you, I mean, what is the actual value prop for the end user, the real estate broker, the agent that wants to become an agent?
Well, this whole idea of if the market the market has slowed down a little, it's not super soft, but I've got some friends that are just moving to the other side of town, so it's not like they're Denver is a slow market, they're trying to move to a hot market. It's they're just basically trying to move to the other side of town. And she said the houses that she wants have been getting snapped up in a day, but then she's had her house for sale and it's not selling. So one of the things that I'm actually thinking about also from a real estate standpoint as a value add when you're trying to get clients of saying, is your broker using the latest tools to sell your house? Is the broker using the latest tools to buy your house? Like, which houses are the most likely to go quickly? This kind of thing. And um, it's I feel like the real estate industry skips over the fact that it's really hard to get your first, second, third clients. It is really kind of emotionally crushing when somebody you've been friends with for a long time says, "Oh, I just decided to move," and you're like, "Okay, great. Can I be your realtor?" And they say, "Oh no, I'm going to use somebody else." It's this stuff is really difficult, and I think solving that pain point is great. And some of the cheesy realtor, like have a cup of coffee with everybody you know every month and just remind them that you're a realtor. I remember when I was getting licensed, the president of the MLS, who was not and had never been a realtor, but she'd been the president of the MLS for 19 years, said, you just need to dress like a realtor and wear your realtor pin all the time. And in a grocery store, people be like, oh, what's your R? What R does that stand for? And you say, I'm a realtor, and you give them your card. And I thought, man, that is stupid. Like that is not the way I would ever pick a realtor. You pick somebody who you either have a great relationship with or is a clear expert in their field.
Mm,
And there's not a whole lot we can do to build relationships. You either have them or you don't. What we can do is give people tools and expertise and make them an expert so they can get that first client, that second client, that third client, and then start building in the referral machine. I'd be curious what your dad says about what his pain points are. Ask him if he could automate his lead gen, and so he had a steady pipeline of warm leads rolling in, and he could automate his paperwork on the back end to keep in touch with all those people that are in his list.
yeah.
If that would solve most of the problems that he has, it
Well,
seems
yeah. I mean, I've just pasted in chat some some things I got out of Chat GPT that, some collaborative tools that real estate brokers are currently using. Um, you got market analysis. There's a guy that I watch on YouTube that talks about different markets in different places, and he's actually dissecting the different tools and giving you like the lowdown. I'll have to get that. I know I have them saved in my YouTube folder somewhere, but he does half the work for you. But then again, I think you're right. Doing lead gen and being able to have that. Like my dad, he used to get those trifolds. It was a calendar, and he had his picture on one side. He had his name, and he worked for Remax, and at that time, but it was a calendar. It was really cool. You opened it up, and it had a pad of paper on one side, calendar on the other. And I remember my brother and I stuffing envelopes, thousands of these things, and he used to mail those out, and he says that he probably get gained 80% of his business by doing that. Now that we're in the technical world, how do you do that same type of concept to retain that business? And a lot of it's repetitive too, right? you know and I think, with AI, you can get more creative with it, where you have these automatic mailers go out and email, but it's changing every time. Maybe the AI agent goes out and gets the latest stats from this guy that I know on YouTube, puts it in a package and sends it to them, on a weekly basis, something for them to kind of read and keep up on. I don't know.
Well, and like talking about creating new pipelines for real estate professionals, one that I'm very interested to create a new pipeline around is the American Dream campaign, that we can build towards these brick and mortar. Because, like, while we're talking about facilitating the AI for real estate as a virtual academy, the goal is to absolutely acquire strategic single family homes, but not just single family homes, but also like spaces that will allow higher density of housing, that bring in co-working space and a maker space where people can live and work without having to commute far away to some centralized business, where people can live and work in local community, where you can like walk
Yeah, like what
to.
you guys are building.
Yeah, 100%, like, and
Like,
that's the
look at
whole
this.
goal.
Monica just gave me this. This is something that we got in the mail, right? This is a mailer, similar, you know, simple postcard, right? It shows the interior of the
Yeah.
place. I mean, this is what brokers are doing today. But how do we make it cooler for them? You know?
Well,
well,
and
that
and the,
and how do we make it cheaper? I mean, one of the things about
Yeah.
postcards is that postage on that's probably $1 a piece, and if they want to send you 10 of them, if they're doing like a monthly drip, it's I I think part of it is the margin is high enough. I mean, if you're going to make 20, $30,000 when you're buying or selling a house, you can do it. But I mean, I'll give you an example. One of the things that I I learned when I was wholesaling houses, which are you guys all familiar with what wholesaling houses is? Uh,
Um,
it's it's basically you you go to a prospective buyer, you get the
And
house under contract, and then you turn around and sell that contract to somebody else. And
real quick, let me interject. The big value proposition for wholesaling is that you don't have to be a licensed real estate professional. Would you say that that's correct, Tyler?
yeah, you do not have to be licensed because you're not actually you are functionally the buyer and you're selling the contract. Um, ugh, my 3-year-old's telling me to stop talking because she can't hear her show. So it's
Well,
fantastic.
so let me chime in because like there's a very rigged game around being a licensed real estate professional, and this is one of the things that's a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit around the National Association of Realtors because they have 1.5 million licensed real estate professionals, and then this antiquated MLS system that's this patchwork hodgepodge of a listing methodology. Now you enter 2020, and I'm not sure when institutional buyers, but Zillow really opened up the technology Pandora's box, and then Redfin, and there's other players that continue to bring technology to an antiquated model. Because like, let's be honest here, when you're paying 6% on a $50,000 house is very different than when you're paying 6% on a $500,000 house or a $600,000 house. Similarly to how percent-based transaction fees around credit cards as inflation continues to go up where the dollar wasn't the same as it was 40 years ago. But anyway, we can talk about that. We're already 13 minutes past here.
Yeah, I gotta go
Let's
get
work on
something
bringing
done.
this to a wrap.
Yeah, let's pick it up. It's good. Good conversation.
3 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be back. But then, more importantly, looking forward to Alan from Noble Digital at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So, have a good night, everybody.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.